So
bloody frontiers of the war. This
yeah, like look how cool this is. It reminds me of Spartacus or something cool. It's monumental, and I don't know why you need to talk. I think this was enough.
In a sudden massive boom.
I think you could even do sweeping type on the screen, like in the 1769, Napoleon showed. You know, and stuff like that. And you can do small expositions like that. But them talking to each other all day is like,
and young men getting married.
Like, I don't need you to tell me the story. I want you to show me.
Women of marriageable age very quickly became either unavailable or far too sought after, and many young men had to marry old women to avoid getting conscripted. I recall reading about a father defending the marriage of his 17-year-old son to a 55-year-old widow by saying,
"She's not complete trash yet. She can still cook and clean."
Napoleon abolished the marriage.
Wow. Complete trash. Listen to them talk about women.
Exemption when he took power by having a middle-aged man playing Napoleon.
I like how he used a female AI voice to say it.
RSN loses the essential element of contrast. Here is a painting of Napoleon during his Italian campaign when he was 26 years old. Youthful, sharp features, the flowing hair of a style-conscious young man. He's lean, fit, and sprightly. Here is a painting of Napoleon at Fontainebleau at the age of 45. He's balding, tired-looking, overweight with a fat gut, and his face is soft and rounded. Okay, so he's not 24 years old anymore, but there's no question the man has let himself go, growing overfond of food and comfort, and indifferent to exercise. This contrast in health and appearance could be utilized in a movie to emphasize Napoleon's fall from greatness, and as a visual indicator of the great span of time that has passed. In Love and Mercy, a biopic that portrays the life of Brian Wilson, the main creative force of the Beach Boys, Wilson is portrayed by two actors. A young Wilson is played by Paul Dano.
Oh, he's so good.
And a middle-aged Wilson by John Cusack. It works excellently within the structural framework of the movie. The first part depicts a young Brian Wilson at the height of his creative abilities while he was making
Ooh, is this good?
pet sounds.
No, that was great. Okay, let's do it again.
Oh, that's really good.
No, it isn't, Rami. It really, really isn't. Imagine a Napoleon movie in two parts. One, Captain Bonaparte at Toulon, eager to win glory and promotion.
Yep, at 20 years old, he's got all the women, he's got all the women in the court, he's got all the money, he's a general, and he's about to become emperor. And then you show him 20 years later, this kind of older, balder, fatter dude who's lost control and is no longer really the de facto leader of France. And
for his struggling family and keep his head during the terror, contrasted against Emperor Napoleon at the Battle of the Nations, the biggest battle in European history at that point. Both periods of his life fully fleshed out. Ridley Scott could have used the two actors method, and in doing so, avoided repeating the exact same mistakes that led to Oliver Stone's calamitous 2004 military biopic, Alexander, a movie that was so bad that Oliver Stone himself later commented,
"Alexander never lost a battle until I made the movie."
And fair play to Stone for eating his L. I doubt we'll see the same humble behaviour from the man who told critics of
this shit sucked.
His trash movie to get a life. But hold on, what is this?
It's more than
Jared Leto.
time.
After the costly French victory at Borodino, which was far from
What
decisive,
was that?
the Russian army withdrew in good order and the French marched into Moscow. In RSN, Napoleon says Moscow is only 200 miles away.
Moscow is now only 200 miles away.
This is just wrong.
No, yeah, France is not by Moscow.
Dino is 70 miles from Moscow. These kinds of very basic mistakes expose just how pathetically inept the research that went into RSN was. Clearly, the script wasn't even proofread by a qualified Napoleonic historian. Another major problem with RSN is the time jumps. The jumps in time between scenes are often so massive and leave out so much that audiences will draw incorrect conclusions about the events depicted. For example, after Napoleon retreats from Russia, he is shown abdicating at Fontainebleau in the very next scene. This would lead the average viewer to conclude that Napoleon abdicated immediately after the Russian campaign, and that the campaign in Russia completely destroyed the French capacity to resist invasion, which is, of course, not true. Napoleon did lose Le Grande Armée in Russia, almost 600,000 men, and France's dominance as a continental power.
Yeah, and
was
that
shattered.
actually matters. Like 600,000 those men will have families, and their families will remember.
But France was far from beaten.
And they'll come watch your movie, and they'll be like, "What in the fuck?"
The war dragged on for 15 more months following the French retreat from Russia. During this time, the French fought over 20 battles. Napoleon was decisively defeated at the Battle of Leipzig, also known as the Battle of the Nations, a 4-day battle involving 560,000 men and 2,200 guns, and Napoleon would have re-established French dominance in Europe if he had won that battle. The Battle of the Nations did not feature, nor was mentioned in RSN. Following the defeat at
What?
Leipzig,
They just left it out?
Napoleon fought the campaign of France, which he described as
My most beautiful campaign.
Napoleon commanded brilliantly, winning 4 victories in a row in the 6 Days campaign, but his generals in other parts of the country were defeated and his own army was too small to stop the Allied advance on Paris. Here's a great little bit of Napoleonic history that would work wonderfully in a cinematic context. As Napoleon was retreating back to France after Leipzig, Karl Philipp von Rieda of Bavaria, who had gone over to the Allies, tried to block Napoleon's retreat. After a brief examination of Rita's opening deployment, Napoleon remarked,
I made him a count, but I could not make him a general.
The heavily outnumbered Napoleon proceeded to smash Rita's army and completed his retreat to France. But we don't get any of that. Napoleon's at Moscow, then he heads down the road to Fontainebleau, says, well, I had a good run, signs his abdication, then joins the MCU to play Napoleus, the vampire general who wins battles by day and morbs by night.
I don't know what a morb is.
Napoleon did not leave Egypt because he found out Josephine was cucking him. He left because his army was stranded in Cairo and Alexandria and no longer able to undertake aggressive action following their failed invasion of Syria, the destruction of the French fleet by Nelson, and the awful political and geopolitical situation that had developed in France while Napoleon was in Egypt.
Yeah,
Napoleon
the
did
guillotine.
find out about Josephine's infidelity in Egypt,
French
and true to
Revolution.
form, he acted quickly and decisively to solve it.
Can't treat the
by
public like
stealing one
shit
of his
forever.
officers' wives and avenging
Build
himself
fucking
upon her
marble
living
Sistine
flesh.
fucking
He also
chapels
wrote to
on their
his brother
fucking
Joseph,
corpses.
instructing him to make the necessary
They'll get
preparations
you
for a
sooner or
divorce.
later.
But the letter was intercepted by Nelson and published in the London newspapers, and I'm not even sorry. I have to applaud the English for that. What a beautiful piece of spitefully hilarious psychological warfare. The French did not use ladders at the siege of Toulon. They blew up a psychological...
This is the English made a joke about their fucking marriage, I guess.
warfare. The French did
That was a beautiful little comic. I liked it.
not use ladders at the siege of Toulon. They blew up a section of the wall using gunpowder barrels, then stormed the English fort, which was a fortified hill, not a medieval castle. Napoleon was bayoneted in the leg by an English soldier at Toulon. This was not in the movie, probably because Scott realized that showing this wound would have compelled him to show Napoleon's recovery period, since a jump from a badly wounded Napoleon after Toulon to a fresh, fully recovered Napoleon in Paris would have been too jarring. Ridley Scott chose to omit the only serious battle wound Napoleon ever received for the sake of convenience. In RSN, the French start firing on the English ships in in Toulon Harbour immediately after taking Little Gibraltar. In reality, the French did not start firing on the English ships until the day after they had taken...
Oh no, why take the movie if you're not even gonna fucking do it right? Oh man. Anyways, I am done, guys. I am brain dead, and I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired, and I'm going to come back to my session tomorrow and play some more Final Fantasy XI. And, yeah, Final Fantasy VII, the illegal NES version. What? Oh, no. NES version? Oh, no. Anyways, I'm going to show you my website here, skycat.live. I'm a full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Put me on in the background. Click on the cat space to donate. This, whatever 13-hour session or whatever it is in the end, was recorded. And it will be placed on my YouTube tonight in all of its angry glory. And I haven't gotten angry like I did today in a long time. So I'm going to try and really not do that as much anymore. I think the best way to do that is to stay away from people, as I have been. So we'll renew that a little bit better. People, you can see I can't be around people anymore. I'm too critical. I'm too old, and I'm too just like, I don't know. I'm too blunt. So full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Put me on in the background.
...taken the fort, as Napoleon needed time to get his guns into position. The Battle of the Pyramids did not actually take place at the pyramids. The pyramids were 17 kilometers away from the battle, and no, the French cannons did not fire on the Pyramid of Giza. The Battle of Austerlitz is an absolute mess. The Austrians and Russians did not advance on the French across an open flat plain. They occupied a hill, then went downhill toward the French. Napoleon didn't use vague hand signals to issue orders. He issued written commands, which were carried across the battlefield by riders. This is a battle, not a baseball game. There were no World War I trenches, and cavalry did not ride through their own infantry. This would not have been possible anyway, since infantry advanced in formation with no large gaps, since such gaps could have been easily exploited by enemy infantry or cavalry. The battles...
Anyways, sorry, I got drawn back into it again. Anyways, I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye.